Hello again. Welcome to Pearl Magazine. Tonight, as global leaders battle the pandemic, the Hong Kong economy is going through possibly the worst ever economic downturn since World War II. Many businesses in the retail sector have been the hardest hit.
That's right, James. In a show of support for this sector, the government has rolled out relief measures to help shop owners. But as Alice Kahn reports, many retailers say the aid isn't enough to cover their operating expenses or keep them afloat during the downturn.
On this day, this pharmacy in Tsim Sha Tsui is opening up for one last time. In the early morning hours, shop owner Ben Choi and his staff are putting some banners outside, luring customers with a buy one, get one free promotion.
It's money losing. We launched buy one, get one free to clear the stock. We clear the inventory to get the cash. The products have their shelf life. Some only last for 3 months, some last for 6 months. They will become rubbish after the expiration date.
Choi set up 3 pharmacies in 2018. One of them is located here in the TST tourist area. 70% of his customers were mainlanders, a customer base wiped out by the virus pandemic. Monthly expenses at his shop are more than $700,000, including rent, staff salary, and assorted bills. In the glory days of 2018, he made $2 to $3 million a month. But business started to take a turn for the worse since last year's social unrest. He thought his business would improve when the situation stabilized after November's district council elections. But the outbreak of the coronavirus at the start of the year has dealt him an even bigger blow.
The business came to a standstill. It's not only Hong Kong, it is a global problem. Basically everywhere is in a standstill. Every country is almost in lockdown. Hong Kong has no tourists. The locals, I believe many locals may be out of a job or facing hard times. They will tighten their budget. Consumer sentiment is weak. Due to the pandemic, they don't dare to come out. Children also won't come out. Now my business dropped by 90%.
These days, Choi makes only $2,000 a day.
Under this economic environment, I lost $10 million. Our business is not sustainable. I can't get through the hard times. The rent is too expensive. The landlord isn't considerate of our situation. He doesn't reduce the rent, not even a penny. Also, the landlord doesn't talk to us. It would be good if they tried to understand our situation, but they did nothing. They even push us harder.
As Choi was late paying his rent, the landlord applied to the court to foreclose the shop. His neighbor, a clock and watch shop, is already out of business. The latest government figures show Hong Kong's retail sales dropped by 44% in February against the same month in 2019. Among the different subsectors, medicine and cosmetics dropped by 42.7%, and sales in jewelry, watches, clocks, and valuable gifts saw the biggest drop at 58.6%.
Lots of retailers, they have to stop business because there's no cash flow at all. Even if they open the store, they may not get that much business to support their operation. So we can clearly see that on the street that lots of shops are already closed. And another way is for them to cut the operating hours. Virus contagion will unlikely to be contained within a short time. Many retailers, especially the small ones, will probably need to close the business.
To stop the bleeding, in March, the government launched a retail sector subsidy scheme. It is in the first round of the anti-epidemic fund to help retailers ride through the hard times. A sum of $5.6 billion is earmarked for the fund. Each eligible retail store will receive a one-off subsidy of $80,000. The maximum subsidy amount for a parent company that operates retail groups or chain stores under the same business registration is $3 million, which could fund as many as 38 stores. Choi applied for the scheme, but he could not get the funds in time. He was forced to close. But he said the $80,000 wouldn't have helped him survive the pandemic, even if he got it.
Our monthly expense is so huge. Our month's expense is $700,000. How can 80,000 help?
80,000 is more or less a gesture of government want to help the people carry on. This is only a gesture. The most important is to keep the ball running.
In a second round of aid, the government announced on April 8th financial relief worth $137 billion to help businesses stay afloat and relieve their financial burdens. One of the measures is to enhance the SME Financing Guarantee Scheme, raising the maximum of the 100% loan guarantee from $2 million to $4 million. Vicky owns a small cosmetic shop inside a Causeway Bay mall. Over the last 2 months, her business dropped more than 50%. Sometimes she made less than $10 a day.
Only $9. I'm losing money. After so many years in business, I have never lost money. The government advised you not to go out, no social gathering, so many restrictions. My business is getting less and less. No foot traffic, like a severe winter.
Vicky had to lay off her part-timer and shorten opening hours to cut costs. Still, she has to pay $40,000 to $50,000 in operating expenses a month. She's considering borrowing $500,000 through the loan scheme.
It can cover rent, inventory cost, and other operating costs. If I can borrow the money, I can survive the hard times. I believe the next 6 months will be difficult.
But she still worries banks may not lend her the money because of her very low business volume. Sally Lam started a tea shop inside the restricted area of the airport at the end of 2018. Her monthly operating costs are almost $700,000, including rent, inventory, warehouse and office rent, and staff. Sally relies entirely on mainland passengers coming through the terminal. As many countries imposed travel restrictions to contain the fast-spreading virus, many airlines suspended flights, and her core market disappeared. On March 23rd, the Hong Kong government announced the shutdown of all airport transit services.
In January, our customers decreased by 50%, almost 60%. Between March 1st to March 15th, we have no business. You can see the situation is very serious. Basically, we can't continue our business. Compared to March last year, we made over 1,000 transactions a month. Now we have only 39 a month on average. So you can imagine our business dropped by 95%.
Sally lost about $1 million over the last 2 months, so she has closed the shop temporarily since March 25th. She applied for the $80,000 subsidy, but she doesn't think it can help. Sally says the 100% loan guarantee doesn't really help either because the loan will eventually create more financial burden for her.
We still need to pay the salary of the staff in the office and warehouse. I have to pay all those expenses.
One economist echoes this concern.
They don't have business, so even you get a loan, you can't pay back a loan later if you don't make enough money. It's a debt in a sense. If you don't pay back, you have to declare bankruptcy, or the government will chase you. So in this case, it's either way. It's not an advantage to retailers if they don't have enough business to survive.
Most of the time, the bank will lend the money. They have to go through a very sophisticated procedures. You have to supply the bank statement, the turnover record, everything. But can you imagine, after the social issue last year, and also during this 2 to 3 months already at a hot environmental situation, can we supply a very good and nice statement to the bank? Of course not. So they will decline to lend you the money.
Kwan says larger direct cash handouts would be better.
They need some subsidy, but they don't have to pay back. If they calculate the total cost or total revenue, if they can survive like this, they may go ahead to keep the business. Otherwise, they will just close its business once and for all.
Under the latest relief measure announced on April 8th, the government will pay up to 50% of employees' salaries for 6 months, capped at $9,000 a month. The maximum subsidy Sally can get is only $54,000, which is a small portion of the total expense. She says the biggest burden is rent, which accounts for more than 60% of her costs. She may not reopen her shop ever again, as she doesn't expect customers will return quickly.
Even if the epidemic is contained, it may take 2, 3 months or half a year or even longer, 1 year to pick up the business.
She's now starting to sell her products online to save costs. Lawmaker Peter Shiu Ka-fai of the Wholesale and Retail Functional Constituency met with 10 landlords, persuading them to lower their rents.
Rent for the retail industry, rental is the one of the major costing for the business. We have met more than 12 or 10 major landlords in Hong Kong and explain them our situation. And some of them have a positive response, reduce maybe half or 50% of the rent per month, but not everyone of the landlord. They will have quite a lot of the retailer can't stand for anymore. They have to closing down their business. And they will have quite a lot of the people will get unemployed.
Shiu says the government could and should do more.
Now, most of the owners, they are facing the cash flow problem. But MPF is compulsory for them to pay for the staff. So if government can help for half years to pay for the employer and employees both 5%, I think that will help for their cash flow quite a lot. MPF mainly, the purpose is for the save money for the future. Now, we are facing a very difficult time. Maybe we have to closing down tomorrow. If we can't survive, how can we talk about the retirement?
Up next, a look at the effect of the pandemic on Hong Kong's unemployment rate.
Stay with us. Welcome back. The city's unemployment rate now stands at 4.2%. The government is rolling out a 6-month, $80 billion wage subsidy to help businesses retain employees by paying half their monthly salary. But it's actually not as simple as it sounds.
That's right, Mel. To qualify, an employer has to keep the current head count. And for those who really can't keep their businesses running, well, add those numbers to the unemployment list. Alice Khan tells us more.
Tonight, 3 dishes on the dinner table is still possible. Chan expects her income will shrink later this month. The family may not be able to enjoy the same number of dishes.
I'm forced to take unpaid leave 4 days a month. The pandemic has affected our business a little.
With a monthly income of just over $10,000, after rent and other bills, there's no more than $4,400 left. Taking unpaid leave means the family will suffer.
$2,000 less. Not much left after family expense. Only a few $100s. We have to cut spending. There's no choice.
Chan's main fear is that the unpaid leave will grow until all of her income disappears, threatening the roof over their heads and her job. The Hong Kong Retail Management Association says an estimated 2,000 retail shops have already shut down between February and April, affecting 5,200 workers. To tackle the job losses, the government hopes the second round of anti-epidemic fund aid can help keep jobs in sectors that have been the hardest hit by the pandemic.
If the economic situation did not show any improvement by the end of April, and some employers cannot cope anymore and they have to make some of their staff redundant, and the redundant staff will become unemployed. So our ESS will ensure that during the subsidy period of 6 months, there can be some relief for the workforce so that no redundancies will be needed. So people that might lose their job can keep their job.
Money from the ESS does not go directly to workers. It helps employers pay half of the salary, capped at $9,000 per employee. The employer must fulfill the two conditions.
Basically, one, that they have to maintain the same headcount. Secondly, all the money that they receive from the wage subsidy should be all given to the staff.
However, the ESS may not help retain jobs. Sally Lam runs a tea shop employing a total of 7 staff, including a salesperson, office and warehouse staff.
I'll still incur loss. For staff wages, can the government pay a large part of it?
When they calculate the total cost, when it is worthwhile keeping the business, they will go on. So in this case, some employees may survive in this storm, but other employees may not survive because if the business just cannot survive, the employer could just calculate everything. It just basically, there's no way to survive. They just close the store. Those people will be unemployed. So don't expect the wage retention scheme is like a savior, okay, to save everyone.
The Retail Management Association expects 3,200 shops will be closed in May and another 5,200 retail workers laid off.
When you look at the recent figure, the drop in tourist arrivals is 99%. For people who work in the tourist industry, in the retail industry, mainly selling products to tourists right now, there are no tourists basically. Most of the shops in tourist areas will be closed. Those people who work in those shops in the tourist areas, if they can't survive.
But the ESS may be too little, too late for some.
We're already out of work, unemployed. The scheme doesn't benefit us at all.
Mrs. Huang used to sell gemstones in the tourist area of Mongkok and Chim Cha Choi, making $16,000 a month. But she was laid off at the end of December.
I used to work in a shop along this street as a promoter here. It was quite vibrant here. Mainland tourists shopped here, and now there's none. In the past, shops were all open, and there's plenty of foot traffic. Many have shut down now, leaving behind these for rent advertisements. But no one is renting. Our shop needed to be closed during the protests. There was no business and revenue was lower. The shop has stopped all promotion and doesn't need so many staff.
Huang has been looking for a job since December. This afternoon, she arrived at this labor union office looking for any opportunity.
If the situation lasts a few more months, I would be worried. I thought, if things could get better next month, then I may be able to find a job. I'm patient and thought it will improve, but the job prospect is looking very gloomy.
Huang and her husband used to make more than $30,000 altogether. Now their household income is down to $15,000. Huang's husband is also facing job insecurity.
If my husband becomes jobless, then there will be no hope. We need to pay for rent, food, bills, and necessary expenses.
Huang has 2 children who are still in school. She fears the family will have to cut their meals from 3 down to 1 per day.
During the better times, we would eat good, like these fruit. Now, we won't. This is good, cheap, $5. We would buy prawns, seafood, crabs, so on. Now we won't buy them. Instead, I look for fish on sale. In the past, we bought garupa about $100 each, or some clams. We stopped buying them since Chinese New Year.
Huang spent about $100 in the wet market, but her family won't eat all of it in one go.
With such a low income, if I don't save up and go over budget, I won't survive. Once the savings are used up, there's nothing left for food.
Unfortunately, some employees might have already been sacked before the launch of ESS. Employers feel that things have improved and there is scope for employing more staff, and then they may be able to re-employ employees they have sacked previously.
The government said it will relax the asset limit to facilitate those unemployed to apply for the comprehensive Social Security Assistance Scheme. But Huang prefers to find a job instead.
They don't get help because they have already been laid off. They can apply for social welfare. But I know the unemployment welfare in this respect is not enough. So the government has to look at this path to strengthen this safety net here.
Economist Andy Kwon expects the unemployment rate will continue to rise from the current 3.7% to as high as 7% in the next 2 months.
That's our show for this week. Next week, a look at how those in fitness and arts are coping with changes in their training and livelihood.
Thanks for watching. Bye for now.